Republic Press this morning says men join battle to end FGM, that's female genital mutilation. Chief of Etimatim appeals for school structure in chocolate factory. Also, Bono region emerging hotspot for COVID-19 cases. And the banner headline: Bagman swerves court, declines invitation to declare Asin North seat vacant. You know what's been happening there. Akufo-Addo explains delay in MMDC's appointment, and government receives 1.2 million in excess of that Moderna vaccines from the UK, 60% of the population to be inoculated by the end of the year. Our earlier target was October, but we are getting there, poco a poco. BNFT is outstanding newspaper of the decade. That's an award they just won over the weekend. Also, vegetable oil importers shortchanging government, engaging under declaration at the post port despite 50% benchmark policy. You remember that as well from the government. And government loses tax revenue of 112 million Ghana cedis in 7 months. Also empowering our chiefs. That's what Dr. Kwamnadufo has an opinion on. And delays at checkpoints contributing to post-harvest losses, high cost of food. So when you go to the market and your food is expensive, that's the reason. Daily Guide: bribe sets NDC on fire. Who are the photographs there? Atu Forcing and Haruna Idrisi. You remember the ACA deal that the think tank spoke about? Well, Haruna Idrisi has fired back. He says it's not corrupt, but that's what the Daily Guide says. Bribe sets NDC on fire. Jenna Blaze, Ghana's outstanding envoy. She's out there representing us, waving the flag. President speaks on MMDC's border remains shut, in spite of the fact that the people in Ketu, South, and Jomoro have come out to demonstrate and ask for the borders to be opened. Same registration starts October, and without that, you cannot use some detail in there. The Ghanaian Times: Ghana receives 1.2 million Moderna doses, the largest shipments from the US through COVAX facility. Family banishes man 32 from home over homosexuality. And empowering our chiefs, going back to tradition, authorities in Ghana developmental agenda. Daily Graphic: Made in Ghana Awards. Graphic adjudged outstanding print media. And Dr. Mohammed Awal there is a minister for tourism, creative arts there. He's on the front page with two staff of the Daily Graphic. GJ goes to polls October 3. Yabre, because we've been in and out of court. Inadequate infrastructure not excuse to law school admission, and that's been a thorny issue. Appointment of MMDC is lists out this month. President retains DCE for Akontombra. That's on the front page. What's on the back page? Akono show of good results in South Africa. Even though we won yesterday, people are saying that our team there, kakra. Mr. Richie Nyama is a deputy national communications director of the NPP. He joins me here. He's also a big man. He's a special assistant to the NPP's party chair, lawyer Freddie Blay, and also Dr. Clement Park is the MP for Bolsa South. He's here, and you've heard him talk about Rosewood and all those other educational issues. Doc Solu. Kubasa. Richard, shall I greet you the same way?
Right. You have to do that, Gary.
My big brother who has abandoned, he has not taught me anything.
You want to say Ansma. You say Ansma.
Ansma.
It's Kijambo.
No. You say Adiesu.
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 Okay, so no, I want to learn it. So Ansma.
Esi.
Okay, then Kediasu.
Ejanye.
Did you sleep well?
Yeah, I slept well.
Johnny, in fact, honestly, I must apologize. I had no idea that yesterday was,
was your birthday.
Doc, you are
No,
my
no,
friend,
no.
like
You see,
Richard.
no, we are vandals, and our motto is the truth stands. He's a younger vandal.
Right.
You know, incidentally, we both occupy the same position.
Okay.
I mean, he became a deputy chief vandal several years after I'd left.
Okay.
And so, you know,
That explains it.
our vandal cult, you know, usually politics does not affect
Right.
our relationship. So, on that note,
Yes,
I must be truthful in apologizing.
Thank you. I'm
that
grateful.
I wasn't aware.
I'm grateful.
You are only +1.
I'm grateful.
So, happy belated birthday.
Thank you, boss.
I will do the needful.
Yes.
I will do the needful.
As you are the deputy, you are the deputy vandal.
Former.
Yes, former. So I now understand, Richard.
You don't understand me.
I won't say anything further. It's okay. But Doc,
we are the sons of Abba.
yes.
And, so
Doc,
you should
you've been on the Rosewood, shall I say, fight, war, advocacy. You've been talking about it. Is it yielding any results?
Well, Johnny, let me say good morning to you. Good morning to Richard. Good morning to our viewers and to the Bulsa people watching. And they commend you, by the way, you and Bella.
Oh,
They
I
say
see.
you are catching up very quickly in terms of learning the bully language.
Yeah, we will learn small.
Very well.
Now that you have introduced another language,
Yeah,
I have
that's
to
the
see
guy.
Richard on the side. So
I
he
knew I
can-
grew up in Upper West, so I speak the language very fluently
So he can coach me.
as well. Yeah. Johnny, the issue of the illegal harvesting and export of rosewood, you are right. I've been at it for quite a while, and I'm very dogged at this advocacy for good reason. But you've asked a very profound question, whether I am seeing any improvement.
Right.
I wish I could say yes, but in all honesty, if I were to say yes, I'll be doing myself a great service, and I'll be disingenuous. It is true that government over the years has indicated, at least publicly, is intent to enforce a ban that it has introduced.
Right.
I mean, we went from the first ban, which was actually introduced when the NDC was in power, and that is a fact. Then the second ban, when NPP came through the then Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Ameu. Then there was a reinforced ban when Asuma Chireme took over. And now we have what is supposed to be the final ban, which is that Ghana is no longer expected to be a source of export of rosewood whatsoever. It is totally banned. What that means is that if you were to be caught with rosewood, whether you procured it legally or not, you have contravened a law and you ought to be punished. That is where we are. So ideally, with the announcement made by the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Abu Jinakpo, indicating that on the basis of our membership of a global, organization, and CITES indicating that rosewood is now an endangered species, and Ghana being a member of that, Ghana no longer is supposed to export rosewood. We shouldn't even be hearing that the activity is ongoing.
But that's why we saw also at the port that Mr. Jinapo and a team of security experts went to impound a truck, or a couple of trucks really, with rosewood in them.
That's correct.
They went to impound it and they said, because of what you are mentioning, you cannot export.
That's correct.
So now we'll start dealing with the people who are doing that.
That is correct. You see, I like that. I mean, we can tell that story the whole time, but I mean, we have a lot of other things to discuss. That is good. But you see, my problem with the sanctions regime remains the fact that we are not seeing people being penalized for engaging in that act.
What do you want to see?
You remember that before this recent impoundment of some 13 containers said to have emanated from Nigeria, there was an impoundment of 5 from within. And we have not had any sanctions. We've not heard the minister indicate any investigation. We have not heard him say, as in the case of the 13 impounded from Nigeria, that he had handed over the case to the NIB, the National Investigation Bureau, for an investigation. So it then raises the obvious question. Why is it that that impoundment of 5 containers, a later impoundment of 1 container in DRE, in the Sablugu district, has not received the same level of attention in terms of the minister instructing or handing over those impoundments and those who are behind those containers for an investigation? And yet very swiftly, the impoundment of the 13 from Nigeria is receiving a directive to be investigated by the National Investigation Bureau. Until you deal with them equally, and I would say perhaps even crack the ship a lot harder on the domestic impoundment, because these are our trees stolen from Ghana, supposedly prepared for export, and we have apprehended the criminals. Why do you seem to be treating them with soft gloves when we know what they are?
It takes time for investigations to be concluded.
But you should make the announcement. Why is it that you
what kind of announcement are you looking for? If I'm investigating,
in the case of
I should take my time to finish the investigations.
Johnny, in the case of the Nigerian impoundment, 13 containers from Nigeria, the minister impounded them. Then he announced that we're handing over this case to the NIB.
Right.
Why couldn't he have done that with the 5 as well, which was earlier? This was in June, and this recent impoundment was just a few days ago. So that is my problem.
Okay.
Well, when this happens, it gives room for a lot of speculation.
Okay.
And for people to conjecture. Is it the case that those who procured the 5 containers and were impounded, or stole the 5 containers and were impounded, may be connected to some powers that be? Do they have deep pockets? Why is it that they are not being investigated? And this is something that I asked the minister on the floor of Parliament.
What did he say?
Well, he said that his ministry had conducted a preliminary investigation. They had identified owners of 4 of the 5 containers. And when I asked him to let us know the names, he said he couldn't because it was under investigation. And when I asked him whether he had referred the matter to security agencies, he couldn't give me a direct answer. He said his outfit was investigating, and other security agencies would also do their work. Okay. That was not a very convincing response. So when you juxtapose that, vis-a-vis pronouncements to do with the 13 from Nigeria, I mean, you can't expect me to be commending the minister. I would have commended him very highly if he had done the same for all of the impoundments after his announcement that Ghana no longer exports rosewood, whether obtained legally or illegally.
Are you losing hope?
Well, I can't lose hope, because hope is what keeps us going.
Right.
I will continue to advocate. I will continue to raise the issues. But I believe that we've gotten to a stage where we ought to inform the indigents of the areas where this wood is procured. A lot of them, as a result of lack of education and proper understanding of the law and the rules, they are deceived very easily with fictitious documents. So we need to let them know that this is what the policy is. This is what the law is. If anyone comes to Fumbisi, anyone goes to Yarba, anyone goes to Wellenbele or Bobele or Mankargo, saying that I have a document from government, from the Jubilee House, and believe me, that is some of what they do to come and harvest rosewood or to cut rosewood, the person should be apprehended immediately by the youth. Okay. Because that person is a criminal. The law and the government says that no more export of rosewood. The minister has assured the House that since he became minister, he is yet to issue even 1 permit.
Okay.
So if a permit is not issued, there is no basis for anyone to go and say, I am logging or I am cutting logs of rosewood.
I see. Now, my final question to you. You are raising all these concerns, and what does your personal security look like?
Well, I would say
have you been threatened yet?
Well, I've received a few messages here and there, but
saying what?
I should back off. I am destroying
if not
people's businesses. Some say I'm a hypocrite. All kinds of things. But you see, I am consoled by the fact that the people of Ghana know this is a worthy advocacy that I've taken upon myself. And I believe their well wishes and prayers and the grace of God is keeping me along. But you're right, that those who are engaged in this are very deep pockets. So when you can sell a 20-foot container of Rosewood for $20,000, a 40-foot container for anywhere between 40 and 60,000, you can be sure that those who are benefiting, they clearly will not be happy. But we can also allow them to destroy our very fragile savannah ecological zone.
I hear you. Richard, so your government is working hard to ensure that this canker stops. Recently, as last week, we saw the minister for the sector lead the security team to go and impound, what do you call it, containers of rosewood that were going to be exported. But Dr. Clement Apak says there's more that you can do. What do you say?
Let me say good morning to your viewers, my big brother Apak, and yourself, and belated happy birthday.
Thank you, Simia. Even though you have abandoned me, it's okay.
Oh, I'll make it up to you.
I'm not complaining.
I'll make it up to
I'm
you.
not complaining.
I hear. Thank you very much for your generosity and magnanimity. On this issue of Rosewood, let me commend and congratulate
MP Rosewood,
my senior brother, for the good work he's doing. I share in his advocacy. You may not know, but I did something similar earlier on when then it was Honorable Yunus Afshini that was
yes,
the
Land Minister. That's
of,
right.
of the sector, and the issue was rampant. I went actually to the forest and did videos of it, and how the trucks were actually parked along the road, and they were using security forces and documents to cut the thing right from the forest to the port and export them.
I see.
And virtually trying to indicate that, look, what we up there speaking and what is happening down there do not correlate. You know, you see, there's something about the Ghanaian. There is some hypocrisy that comes to us naturally.
Really?
As a people, yes. Okay. And we have no sense of patriotism. So when government and the system is trying to sanitize and get things done, in actual fact, people on the ground sabotage the very system that is brought to sanitize the system. And I'll give you an example.
Sure.
If you go to today on the front page of the BNFT, you are seeing this issue of under-declaration.
Right.
Now, what happens is that you bring a system that is supposed to stop it. And those in charge of the system, okay, connive to find how to beat that system. Okay? It's not how to implement it. How do we go around this to benefit, for our personal benefit? You go into the mining sector. The minister, the government bring up all sorts of strategies and systems. The very people who are supposed to implement it, when they go on the ground, they go and connive themselves and the people who are in the sector and find a way of beating it. So that if you're talking about Galamsey right now, there is no way that you can do it without the local police and the military guys on the ground. And yet they are the people the government is relying on to implement it. You come to this Rosewood thing, and it's not different. It's the same thing. The security forces with this business persons or the guys doing it. Actually, you see, when you go to the local people, unfortunately, Chief, the guy in Fumbisi, in Yaguba, is hungry. So they just need to give them some peanuts And they will recruit they themselves into the forest to do the cutting and loading of it. And so, seriously, sometimes I sit down and ask myself, when? When are we going to look beyond our stomachs and ourselves and see the bigger picture? We are undermining ourselves and the development of this country. Over the years, look, and I've come, these days, people ask me, you used to be very tough on these issues of corruption and all those things. I've fought and sat back and looked at it. And I realized that, look, naturally, it seems we as a people like wrong, but we pretend to like wrong.
You are not giving up, are you?
I've gotten to a point where I think there must be some structural systemic changes. Okay. And unfortunately, my ideas on how to go around such issues are too radical, maybe for anyone to even want to listen to.
Which are?
You understand? For instance, the issue of police taking bribe on the streets and all those things, traffic. That is the number one form of corruption you see. It's the most glaring. You see it on a daily basis. I doubt any of us on a daily basis does not see a trotro or a taxi driver giving 1 or 2 cedis to a police officer on the street. And then you ask yourself, how do you go about it?
Okay.
The other day, I was suggesting that, look, for me, if I had the chance, the MTTD, I'll privatize it. I'll let you, the police officer, stand there, okay? But we will give ACP Awuni of blessed memory when he tried implementing this spot fine issue, had issues. But if I had my way, let's privatize it. A company is in charge of
revenue collection, right?
Yes, another in charge of the various districts or municipalities. Divide them. Let a police officer accompany them. His is supervision. And see, because the private person has a profit motive.
Right.
If you jump the traffic light several times, he will find a way of getting his money out of you. The state takes the money out of you. And that can be used for development. But it's so radical that the system will not, under any circumstance, entertain it.
Richard, look, there's been the accusation or allegation that the people involved in the Rosewood cartel are people with power and authority. And that because they have power and authority, they bring the security in, they lobby the boys, they have money to spend. Like you yourself have said, they get the boys who are hungry to pack and things for them. So they have money, they have power, they have authority, they have connection. And so all this talk we are discussing this morning, it will be cost 90, 0.
You see, I think you're missing the point. I'm saying that it's like it's in our DNA. We like wrong, naturally.
We enjoy it.
We enjoy it. Because, look, somebody wakes up and over the night he's filthy rich and people are hailing and happy. Previously, they will question where your wealth came from.
Right.
But you are celebrated. Today, if you are a public officer and you are not seen to be opulent and misbehaving, you are seen as stupid. Excuse my French. You see, you're not smart. Your colleagues are there, they're doing well, and you are always looking wretched. We encourage it. That, unfortunately, is in us. And so, if the system is going to work, we will also, as a people, have to take a second look at ourselves. But that is not absolving government and leadership. But if anything is what he's saying is to go by, there's been an improvement from the history of it. Okay? Previously, we were exporting the thing and we were trying to catch them or stop them from exporting. Now, there's been a total international ban on it. So if there is no market for it, you cannot in the first place.
Why are you selling it?
Yes, you get it. And so if China is no more buying it and is not going, if you cut it, where are you taking it to? Locally. And you see, if there's one person who has shown that will and energy and motivation to improve upon what he has inherited, is Abu Jinapo. I'd love my heart out for him. His efforts. If you look at the collaboration between he and Honorable Nitiwo on the Galamsey front, you come to this Rosewood thing. It takes time. But you see, you also need to assist. He has given you some indicators.
He says use the Rosewood for furniture for the students.
Oh, yes. And obviously, once it has been captured, it has to be used for something else internally.
Do you support his call?
Why not? You cannot throw it away. You can't burn it. It's of use. You can, what the Chinese could use
Somebody
it for.
says National Cathedral. I said, use it for furniture.
We could also use it, whatever it is. But I'm saying that he has given you a report and an indication as to where this matter currently stands.
Right.
And you seem to have an interest in the matter.
I do.
A very good one.
I do.
At that. So what I expect is that he's told you the Nigerian one is being investigated, the Ghanaian one is being investigated, but you don't know where that one currently stands.
Because nobody is telling us anything.
Yes, you see, please, there's a lot on the person's table. Sometimes there's a need for a follow-up. That is why we all have our stakes. So
but Richard, for a national issue of this nature, everybody's talking about it. MP Rosewood is talking about it, as I like to call him now. He's talking about it.
Yes. Hold on.
Now, don't you think that it will be in the best interest of the sector ministry, or if you like, whoever is investigating, to come and say that, oh, this is what I've done so far. This is what was complained. This is what I found. This is the progress work. Should we be begging for information?
No. So I'm saying that let's take it granted that that is not being done. You don't also sit on your horse and assume that. You push. So you go and ask him, what is the status of this matter? Okay. Where do we stand? We want to do a program on TV3 Wednesday morning. We'll be mentioning this. Can you give us a contact person? Okay. If it is with the NIB or it's with the CID or whoever.
As for the background information we have been asking you, that's what my questions are direct.
No, but don't. Why background? Why are you doing the background? Yours is to inform the public. So why are you doing background?
But if I have not finished my work, how do I bring it?
So if he is not finished his work, why do you want him to?
But he's the one investigating.
That is the point. Is he the one investigating? He issues it to somebody to investigate. Okay. And so I'm saying that once he has pushed the matter to somebody to investigate, until the person brings him the report, he cannot tell you anything. But you, being the one in charge
how long do we have to
informing us, the public, as long as the matter is under investigation, they can't tell you anything. But I'm saying that you also have a role to inform the public. Follow up. You go and he says, I've taken the thing to CID or NIB or whichever. Yeah. Then you follow up and go there. Then they say, we have investigated up to this point. We are able to comment. You can come back on this program and tell Ghanaians that
they should write a statement.
I'll follow up.
They should write a statement.
You see,
they should write a press release.
No, I think
they should write a statement.
This issue of if you have an interest, follow through your interest.
But they should also update us. We don't need to go and beg them.
Johnny, please. The job is equally shared. You are the fourth estate of the realm.
Senior Richard, we don't need to go and beg them.
Absolve yourself of any job.
Senior Richard, we don't have to beg them.
I'm not asking you to beg them.
But that's what you are doing.
It's part of your job.
I agree.
It's your job.
And I'm saying you have been asking them.
No, Johnny, I'm saying don't go and ask them.
If they have information, Johnny, let them give us.
Johnny, so, and I have told you, if he doesn't have the information, what does he give you? You knowing what you want, tell him, give me the status. Where have you taken this matter to? He tells you, no, I haven't taken it anywhere. You can come and sit here and say that he hasn't taken it anywhere when I asked him.
So that I'll get enemies.
So you are afraid.
I'm not afraid. Let's move on.
Let's prepared. You are asking me, so am I giving up? That is the point.
Have you given up?
Have you given up?
Have you given up?
I haven't.
I haven't given up.
So follow up.
We are in this together.
So please follow up.
Because when
you might get there, and the revelations will be so interesting that, oh, okay, now I understand why this thing is the way it is.
Okay.
Please.
I hear you.
Just lift your feet.
Let's talk about, Doc, I know you also sit on the Education Committee in Parliament.
That's correct.
The children, and a parent came to me last week talking about the fact that the reopening date has been postponed, and she was worried. Somebody also mentioned that the textbooks for the primary schools are not in. I know that you were talking about the past questions, but that's not our conversation now. I want to focus on the postponement and the textbooks for the children, because they are going back to school again. I think sometime this week, right?
That's correct.
They are going back to school, but the textbooks are not there. What has the committee been told?
Well,
the committee in Parliament, our representatives, what have you been told?
Johnny, quite honestly, as a committee with oversight responsibilities on any and everything to do with education, we have not had a direct briefing from the minister, from the Ghana Education Service, with regards to the delay in the availability of textbooks based on the new curriculum, which came into effect 2 years ago. But my ranking member, the Honorable Nochu, filed a question to the minister regarding the delay. And the minister indeed came to Parliament to respond. And I remember at the time, the minister's explanation was that the delay was as a result of a number of factors. One of them was the need for proper scrutiny in terms of the publishers to ensure that the books that would be accepted would be fit for purpose. Now, you also remember that this same delay at some point had caused some printing houses to put in the public domain certain books that clearly were not fit for purpose, which generated a hue and cry.
Right. If
now,
you agreed to do juju.
In that, I don't want us to go there. But Ghanaians know. I mean, the history book and, you know, the maligning of certain ethno-linguistic groups and what have you. Clearly, that would not be what we would want as a nation, because we don't want to raise the young ones with those types of mindsets, looking down on one group versus the other, one religion against the other, that kind of thing. But that in itself was a product of the delay. Now, when the minister explained, he made that point about the need for scrutiny. He also spoke about the need for NACA to be able to go through, because there are processes involved as well. Then I asked a follow-up question, that given the time and the anxiety, both from the side of parents and the side of teachers, could he give us a timeline with regards to when the books will be available? He said in 3 months' time.
Okay.
That was what he said. And I believe this would have been, we are in September, that would have been about 2 months ago.
Okay.
So we are getting to the 3 month window that he gave us.
Right.
So we are waiting to see whether that will happen or not. But you see, the lack of textbooks creates a challenge. First of all, the new curriculum is standard-based, which will mean that you expect the students in Accra, in say primary 4, to have the same level of academic engagement to deal with the same material as a student in say Sankana or Doninga at the same level. But here we are, we don't even have the books. So the obvious question is, what standards are we using?
Right.
It is the case that teachers are doing their best to try and keep teaching and learning going. But even teachers will tell you and admit that although they are trained, they are properly prepared and they can always go out of their way to, put together the needed material to enhance teaching and learning, they themselves are constrained and disadvantaged with the unavailability of textbooks. And that is why the teacher unions, if you remember, not long ago, issued a communique to government making a number of demands. And one of them was that they expect that the textbooks will be available before the current reopening.
It had to take them 2 years to do that.
Well, and that is the question some of us have always asked. I mean, I have written several.
But they are teachers. They do, you are a teacher.
Yes, yes, I've lectured before.
They do, what do you call it, lesson notes.
All of that.
They're supposed to report. If you don't have the textbooks, you just have a resource pack. Even the curriculum and all of that, you're supposed to download it on the internet. You are supposed to do the lecture notes, or if you like lesson notes,
yes.
you can't present it week on week, day by day. You don't talk about it. It takes you 2 years to come and be talking about
Johnny,
textbooks.
let's be honest and true.
How are they teaching?
For me, the implementation of the new curriculum, or if you like the rollout, in itself was what precipitated the current challenge.
Okay.
Some of us had argued even then that it wasn't prudent to just bring to a sudden halt the old curriculum, when in fact the new curriculum material had not been developed to accompany it. There is no reason why
the material has been developed. It's just the distribution of the material.
Well, obviously it is not developed, because if it is developed and it's not available, how do we say it is
I've had occasion to read the new curriculum. For example, it talks about a certain Montessori style practicality.
That's correct.
Where the children must sit around the table and not sit on dual desks and all of that. So the as for the development, they have done it. It is the distribution of the textbooks which will aid teaching and learning.
Well, I don't. Okay, fine. I will grant you that.
That's where I'm coming from.
I will grant you that. But the point I'm making is that the process could have been done in a way that we wouldn't be where we are.
Okay.
There could have been an overlap instead of a sudden break.
Right. Okay.
The overlap would have allowed for the old curriculum to still be in use, the books would be in use, till the time when the material for the new curriculum and everything is properly organized. And then you bring the old curriculum to
How much pressure are you applying so that the textbooks come? Because for 2 years, if the textbooks are not in,
Johnny,
and you have your child in that public school,
Johnny,
and they cannot get the full complement of it, then there's a problem.
I started this advocacy calling for government to make sure that books based on the new curriculum were available just about 4 months after the introduction of the new curriculum.
Right.
When the Honorable Matthew Poku Pempe
right.
was minister, he and I had banters. I've written so many articles about this, and I continue to do that even as we speak. And that is why we in the minority, we continue to use every means available to us. We ask the questions on our rights articles. We try to get government to commit.
Okay.
Now the minister told us that 3 months. Schools are about to reopen. Let's see if they are able to meet that timeline. And if they don't, I believe that whatever grace period that parents and teachers would have given them would have come to an end. Because if you speak to parents, you speak to teachers now, they feel agitated.
Okay.
For people like me, the usual answer is, Dr. Park is our opponent. So if he's writing and he's speaking about it, well, now the parents and the teachers are beginning to take it up.
I hear you.
Because 2 years is long overdue for books to be made available to accompany a program, or if you like, a curriculum that is supposed to be standards-based.
I hear you. Senator Richard, where are the textbooks?
John, I think you heard what he said.
No, I'm asking you.
He is a member of the committee in charge of education.
That's right.
And he has given you first-hand knowledge.
I'm asking you as a rep of the government.
Oh, please, I'm coming to it.
Yes.
And he did his job by asking the questions. And the minister has given answers. And from his submission, they are largely satisfactory answers, though he may have issues with its rollout, i.e., it probably should have overlapped with the old one for a period, so that we probably should have foreseen this and let the old one run hand in hand with this one, like we've had the CD rollout over periods where you have the old and the new CD.
Spend old CD, wait for the new CD. Yeah.
It finally
2007, 2008.
Yes. You see, but those are lessons you learn when you roll out, especially educational programs. I remember when the JSS system was introduced, the difficulties, especially the philosophy of it, that it's going to be practical based, where you were going to use implements like, let's say if you were doing carpentry, you had the implements, all those things. And yes, the actual implementation when it started was very different from the philosophy that accompanied it. If anything, the minister in charge of the sector himself is a teacher, and at the highest level of teaching grade students, and he knows exactly what he is doing. Question is, do we agree and accept the whole philosophy of what the curriculum wants to teach? Largely, yes. Most and virtually all parents agree that, look, our system needs to be very practical and make it possible for the kids to relate to it than we currently are learning. But those things take time to do. Okay.
How much time? How much time do you have to wait?
That is where the
2 years
lapse,
after the curriculum
that is where
change.
the lapse comes in. That probably we should have been able to anticipate that we don't have the capacity to roll out these books, especially considering the number of students that are getting absorbed into the schools. The numbers are going to be huge. We might need more capacity, and also considering the fact that local, what do we call it?
Publishers.
It was virtually a dead industry that is being revived. They will need some capacity. So it's a holistic approach. And sometimes you would miss here and there. But for me, I rather would prefer that the kids, there's a delay, and he has given them a period. And from what he's saying, at least there's still a month of it that is to come.
You see, my difficulty is that when the curriculum change started, I even raised questions about how the teachers were being trained to go and implement the policy. How their food was presented to them in plastic bags and all of that. I'm saying that if the teacher becomes discontented, it will affect the implementation of the big policy, because education is big on this government's agenda. Now, follow up to it, they were giving resource packs, and then I asked questions when the books will arrive. Mr. Richard Ahagba sat where you sat, where you are sitting, and told me that it will be up in 6 months from that time. It's been more than 1 year, 8 months since he mentioned that to me. Here, the tip is there. Now, we are 2 years more ahead, and the textbooks have not come, which has given people an opportunity to write that, oh, AFO agreed to do juju for the thing in the past, and all the hogwash that people have written. Is it normal for us to be running an educational system, a new curriculum, without textbooks from where you sit? Is it normal?
Johnny, even from your own submission, the curriculum is available.
It is.
Hold on, it's available.
It is online.
It's not available hard copy.
Right.
Now, I'm a teacher. I started from the primary level.
Yeah, teacher too.
Yes.
So two teachers who have ditched their classroom.
I've taught at the primary through to the
two teachers who have ditched their classrooms.
The point is
we thank you. Did you take teaching allowance?
The point. Oh, I did.
You enjoyed our taxes.
And I've paid. I even pay more taxes.
You have paid your dues.
I do pay even more today. Point is that when you go back to these processes.
Right.
The teacher is the center most of the time, the way we do our teaching and learning. The teacher is the center of the process.
That's
okay?
right. That's
so
right.
if I sat down, all the kids do not have copies, and the teacher has access to it, he can still prepare his lesson notes and do it based on the curriculum.
Prepare with what?
I thought you said the thing is available online.
If
he has his pack,
okay,
and he has this online, I'm saying that he can prepare and come and teach the class.
If I'm somewhere in Golu, my internet connectivity is off. I possibly do not even have light. How do I assess the curriculum that is online to be able to write lesson note that the security supervisor or metro director is looking for?
If you care to know, to a large extent, we have made available Wi-Fi to most, at least secondary schools.
No, I'm not talking about secondary schools.
Oh, hold on.
I'm talking about primary schools.
Yes. You see, let's be frank. You go to my poor village, Jamwai, in the Pandai district today. 2-3 years back, I couldn't access internet.
Okay.
But today, when I go, I have access. Because to a large extent, the telecommunication sector is extending these things across. That might be a challenge. But I'm saying that the situation is not as dire as you're painting it. What is simply not there are hard copies for the students to go through it.
Okay.
Most of the time, the children at that level do not even have that capacity to read and write. So it's the teacher that takes them through that until they gain it.
Okay.
So every child having a hard copy does not necessarily mean is going to improve their ability to learn and learn better.
I hear you.
What for me is important is that the information is available. Teachers, fortunately, we are very adaptive. Okay, and I am sure that they are making do with the resources they currently have. And let's pray
when you speak with the teachers, they complain. They say, look, we know how to teach. But for example, in the new curriculum, for ICT, for example, you need to have electricity, you need to have the computers available, and you need to teach in a certain way.
Yes.
They are suggesting that even the dual desks that are in the school now is supposed to be replaced with a round table where the children sit around the table. So now that has not changed.
Please.
I'm coming.
Johnny,
I'm saying that I've read the policy.
Yes.
I'm saying that one of the key things is that the children must now sit around a round table and interact like they do in Montessori schools. The schools Doc and my child goes to. Johnny, now you still have dual desks, and you're asking them to implement a new policy.
Johnny,
when you have not you have not given them the resources.
Johnny, please. That is overbeating this. You are overflogging this matter. You are talking about dual desk.
Right.
So until all the dual desks are replaced, you are telling me the teachers cannot teach. We call something Aprotech. They know how to rearrange what they currently have. For the children to sit.
If you were in that classroom, how would you do it?
Hold on. Their desk.
If you were in that classroom, Mr. Nyama, how would you do it?
They are all square.
Right.
Yes, you can do that in a circle, and the children will still sit around.
I say, if you were in that classroom, how would you do it?
I've just answered you.
Okay.
I'm saying that their desk is like this. You want a round one. We can put them down in the round this thing. The teacher will either be in the middle or face the blackboard and teach them. So you don't necessarily
I'm coming. Help me to understand you. So blackboard is here. The desks are here. You're supposed to have a round desk, right? For the children to sit round. If you put it together like that, which direction will the children be facing for the teacher to teach them?
It was round, if it is a round one, which direction will the children be?
That's what I'm saying. In the new policy, it is supposed to be round.
Johnny, I'm saying that you're overflogging the
I'm not. Please. I'm just playing back the audio.
The teacher can put a table right in the middle. What he needs on that table are his teaching materials. The children's focus is on the table. And I'm saying that even if you don't have a round desk, you can let the children sit around. The focus is not the desk. The focus is they sitting around and facing each other and seeing the material. It is not about desk. So let's not say that until you replace all of them with round desk, teaching and learning.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that. So what becomes of the blackboard?
That is the analogy you are giving.
What becomes of the blackboard?
Do you need a blackboard when your teaching and learning materials is in it? And you are looking at also reducing the class size. And so that there will be enough interaction.
You want to reduce the class size in a class of 90 people?
Please.
Richard, me and you, we are talking about a school in Dr. Clement Pass community that has 90 students in one class.
Yes. And they are supposed to sit around.
Right.
I'm saying that if it is 90 and they can sit around, you would have, if it is 10 per a round table, you will have 9 of such in the class.
Do you know what? You have been in the classroom before. I have not. You have been in the classroom before. You have 90 students or 80 students in one class. Now they have to sit in a circular format. That reduces the space that is available to them.
And you're not getting the point.
90 students.
I'm saying that the whole idea is even to reduce the class size.
So where would the other students go?
But you are expanding educational facilities. It's not done in a day. Johnny,
I hear you.
I think no, you are belittling the whole idea.
I'm not belittling it. See, the teachers speak to me.
Do you accept that?
Okay, so
do you accept that we can put desk around and the children will sit in a circle? Is that doable or will necessarily?
That can be
yes.
But you see,
and I'm saying that
the point he is also making is that the current space available would present us with a problem.
Yes.
In terms of this,
if you have space for 90 people and now you intend to reduce the size,
what is the normal class size today?
See,
what is the normal?
It varies.
Yes,
it
varies.
But yes, 50, but the number on the average is around 50. And I'm saying that if we are sitting around in the circle, it's just 5 of such circles in a class, and it's doable.
But I'm saying that if you have 50 people in a class and you run that circular system, okay, 50 people cannot fit into that system.
What is your?
So then we have to build new classroom blocks.
Obviously, aren't they building new classroom blocks?
Well, they are not coming on stream as quickly as
obviously, we have the national cake has to be shared equally. Whilst you are talking about education, you are talking about health, you are talking about all sort of things going on.
But I'm saying, Senior Richard, before you put together a new curriculum and a new system,
yes,
to say you are implementing it 2 years on,
you should have everything ready before you start. Please, nobody does that.
The school that
do you have all the money to build a house before you start building?
The school that me and you, our children attend.
Is that what you do?
They are completing their processes before they begin, correct?
Which ones?
Your children, they go to school and go and be overcrowded in a class.
Johnny, I really am struggling to get the point you are making. I'm saying that the focus, and if you have seen how Montessori is done,
right?
Okay, maths and English, geometry, all of it is practical based.
That's
what
right.
the teacher does is that you put all the teaching and learning materials on the table, and then you let them have a feel of it.
That's right.
Practically use it and do it.
That's right.
Instead of the blackboard, they are writing and then they are chewing and pouring.
That's right.
Okay, so if you have your teaching and learning materials and you let them sit in the middle, yours is supervisory. You give them the task around the tables. You do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. And then they are practicalizing and trying with it.
I hear you.
Point is this: we cannot have everything we need before we decide that we are changing the curriculum and implementing it. It's a process.
Is it acceptable that 2 years on you still don't have a textbook?
What is acceptable to you? One day?
No, you are a teacher. Tell me.
One day is acceptable. I'm saying the
you are a teacher.
But I've just told you the teacher is adaptive. Okay. If at this point the teacher enters his classroom and because they are supposed to be sitting around, he does not, and he doesn't have a round desk, and he does not know how to make a round desk out of it, then he's not fit to be in that
I hear
class.
you. Look, is it acceptable that 2 years you don't have a textbook? That's my final question.
Well, the simple answer is no.
Okay.
I think that it is long overdue.
Your fellow teacher says...
Let's hope that the minister this time has made a commitment that he can meet. And I think parents and teachers have every reason to be anxious.
I hear you. Mr. Richard Nyama is a Deputy National Communications Director of the NPP. It's my big brother who has abandoned me, but it's okay. We are fine. And Dr. Clement, I will hammer it. Dr. Clement Park is also the MP for Bolsa South. He's a ranking member on the Education Committee. Deputy ranking member on the Education Committee. And he's the man that people have chosen to call MP Rosewood. Happy day to them. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. Also,